Welcome back to another episode on Journey to Authenticity, a podcast designed to help you become your authentic self, create a clear vision for life, and ultimately step into a life of purpose. I'm your host, Braiden Belnap. I'm a transformational life coach, speaker, and entrepreneur ready to help you accomplish just this. But what if becoming your authentic self, creating a clear vision for life, and living a life of purpose feels so far-fetched? That's exactly why we're here today, to break down your core beliefs, your truths that you don't usually question. It's usually our truths that we never question that are holding ourselves back. Psychology 101 essentially means that your beliefs create your thoughts create your emotions create your behaviors, and your behaviors create your results. And those results then reinforce your belief systems. And this is essentially a cycle that you keep living in. And sometimes these cycles serve us, right? And sometimes these cycles hold us back, keep us in the rut, the pit of our life. And if we're not questioning these, really recognizing our process, to say the least, then there's possibilities of being stuck forever. You see, time is such a beautiful thing. At the beginning of life, generally speaking, teenagers, young kids, early 20-year-olds, they feel like life is forever, ever evolving and never stopping. It's never ending. We obviously understand that at some point there will be an end, but it doesn't feel that way. And in turn, we dream big. We go big. We think of all of the possibilities. And sometimes that creates for lack of action. Now, on the flip side, this is where really the transformation happens, is at the end of life. Because the individuals that are getting into their 50s, 60s, and sometimes even at the tail end on their deathbed realize that there's not enough time. And at that moment, when we realize that there's not enough time to accomplish all that we wanted to and to become all that we're destined to become, we rush. We rush to heal relationships, rush to have the conversations that we wanted to have throughout our entire lives. And when we marry the two and we actively become the best version of ourselves, we actively strive to achieve all that we're destined to accomplish throughout life, we build a life of joy and fulfillment. And that's exactly why we're here today, is so that I can coach you on really looking at your processes so that you can start to transform your life. Now, I want to start off that if this is resonating with you, you're not alone. In fact, trust me, there's a long period of time that I didn't question my hard truths, to say the least. I mean, there was times where I was agnostic. I mean, I believed into a God, but I didn't really trust the religion. I didn't trust any religion. I didn't trust any organized religion. And in turn, that kept me from reading the Bible for a very long time, because there was beliefs around that, these specific people read this, but read that book. And it held me back from finding what I now know, a void to be filled, a newfound purpose, a newfound love for what I'm capable of becoming, what I'm capable of achieving. On another level, there was a time period in my life that I believed value came from working hard. I thought that working hard truly meant that I was valuable, when in reality, now, today, I know that I don't need to grind and be on the grindstone 24/7 to be of value, to be enough. And these are two examples of many that I've experienced in my own life that has allowed me to become the person I am today, which in turn, I'm grateful to say is my best version. And trust me, I have so much more truths to find, so much more truths to question, to ensure that I keep evolving to become the best version of myself as time goes on. The question is how, right? We're talking about questioning our beliefs, but I just want to take a step back. It's important to question everything in your psychology, your beliefs, your thoughts, your emotions, your behaviors, and your results. Your thoughts are really the insights to your beliefs. Now, I'm just not talking about any thoughts today. I want you to truly look at the ones that you would never think to question. Question how you view work, how you view relationships, how you view yourself, how you see that you add value to the world, how you believe parenting should be done, anything that you have a core belief on, question. As a result of this, you're going to find one of two things. One, you're going to find that you have a higher testimony of your belief because you questioned it. And since you questioned it and you really looked within of how you thought, how you felt, how you took action, your results in this attribute. When you look at that, if you really take the time to look at it and you really do believe in it, you now have all that evidence and all that power and all that testament as to why you believe in that. Now, on the flip side, you may find something that serves you greater. Maybe there's a belief that you've subscribed to for so long that's created your thoughts, your emotions, your behaviors, and your results, that by questioning it, you actually realize that it's not serving you anymore. I mean, ultimately, all your beliefs, thoughts, emotions, and behaviors served you at some point, and sometimes even those results. But right now, you're not where you were at 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, or even longer, to where maybe it is not serving you anymore. And by questioning it, allows you to be aware of that, giving you the permission to transform your lives, to become the person that you're destined to be, to ultimately accomplish what you're destined to do. So the question is how, right? We first need to really sit down and take the time. And that could be done through journaling, meditation, could be a nature walk. I'm not telling you or subscribing to you on how to do this process. You need to find your way. And honestly, I would encourage you to try all of them. Try meditating, try journaling, try a nature walk, try a night drive. Try whatever you feel like would support you and put you in the right mindset internally to actually be willing to see the hard truths. And then step 2 is to truly start to question. Let's say you're focusing in on how you add value to the world. What does it being enough mean to you? First, you wanted to start to really realize and come into an understanding of what that is. So ask yourself the question. Simple question. What makes me enough? If you're journaling, you can write the question. If you're meditating, you just can ask the question. Same as if you're driving, taking a walk. What makes me enough? And you can do this with any question. I just want to make that clear. And then really take the time to become aware of it. Similar to this coffee mug, if you're watching it, let's say this mug is that question, right? You would want to look at the handle. You would want to look at the bottom. You would want to look at all of the sides, what's in the cup. There's little chips on here. You would want to look at every possible angle. And those angles usually comes down to, what are my beliefs? Like, what truly makes me enough? What are my thoughts around that? How do my beliefs and these thoughts create the emotions that I'm experiencing today? And ultimately, what are these emotions fueling? What behaviors are those emotions fueling, creating those results? And as you really look at this, I would encourage you to take it a step further. What makes me enough? Okay, what makes me enough in work? What makes me enough as a husband? What makes me enough as a brother, a sibling, a sister, a son, a daughter? Take it further to what is personalized to your life and take the time. I would even encourage you to pause this podcast if you're in a position to really go deep with this right now and start to ask those questions. Again, maybe the question isn't what makes me enough. Maybe the question is what are my true beliefs in God? Maybe the question is what makes me a value of society? What will determine that I actually leave the legacy that I'm destined to? You can ask yourself questions around yourself, your relationships, your impact, your finances, your businesses or your career, your lifestyle, what you truly want in life, material items. Are you just trying to keep up with the Joneses and that's what you're looking to do to make yourself enough? Or what is it you actually want? You can dissect this process with any aspect because we all have core beliefs and we're willing to look at the ones that we start to question through life. But the ones that are truly transformative, once again, are the ones that you never think to question. You want to question those and go deep there. And once you've gone through this process, we transition to a phase that I call in my grow process, realize. We want to look ourselves in the mirror. Now, I'm not saying you actually have to go look at yourself in the mirror. And if you're in a position of doing so, I would encourage it, because it's easy to lie to somebody else. Somebody asks you a question and you can throw out, an answer that could be complete bullcrap, or you can tell the honest truth. I always encourage, because honesty is embracing the good, the bad, and the ugly. Always tell the truth. It might be uncomfortable, but trust me, you gift yourself another level of freedom when you never say any more lies. But to you specifically, you can't lie to yourself. If you ask yourself a question and you say a lie, then another lie, and then another lie, at some point, you're going to feel weird, unauthentic, low confidence. Not being honest with yourself breeds a life of pain, quite frankly. So when we get to this realize phase, we become true, honest with ourselves. Ask yourself, what is the pain? What if you stayed in the cycle? Let's say you ask the question of, what makes me enough? And you ring out, I make $1 million a year. I have a business that's impacting 1 million plus people a year. This enoughness is so far-fetched to where you don't feel enough right now. You're not enjoying the journey, because your rule for yourself to be enough is something that's not attainable for yourself right now. I'm not saying it's never attainable. You most likely will get that on your journey, as long as you can consistently stay persistent and determined. But if you realize that this is so far-fetched to where your enoughness is far out into your journey, what is that pain? Like, in reality, if you consistently subscribe to this belief, these thoughts, these emotions, these behaviors, these results, what does life look like tomorrow? In a week, in a month, in a year, in 5 years? What does life really look like? Because it's very rare something ever stays the same. It usually gets worse or it gets better. So be honest with yourself. What does life look like in the future? If you keep subscribing to your current belief, your psychology pattern. Now, on the flip side, ask yourself, what if I transformed this? What does life look like in a year? What does life look like in 5? It's a beautiful question to really see both sides, and for you to essentially put a fork in the road to determine there's 2 paths here. Either I keep following the way that I've been being and doing, or I transform it into another way of life and look at it. I mean, really sit with yourself and consider what do both sides offer as far as results go, emotions go, and thoughts go. And ask yourself, what do you want life to look like? Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? From there, we transition into the O, right? Grasp is the first step, realize is the second step. O stands for overcome. What is the process of overcoming? You understand what the challenge is. You understand the pain and pleasure. How are you going to overcome this? So if you're transforming a belief around how you are enough, set the new rule. I am enough when you create those answers for yourself. For me, I'm enough when I keep my word to myself and others. And I specify myself because a lot of people don't struggle keeping their word to others, but they negotiate with themselves. They want to eat healthy, but on a Friday night, that cookie looks really good from Crumbl. And so they give in and they go eat the cookie. So I personally am enough when I keep my word to myself and others. Doesn't matter whether it's a stranger, my wife, my kids, future kids, I should say, siblings, parents. I keep my word. 2, I do my best. This is not tied to perfection. This is not tied to a result. It's that I simply do my best. And then I actively grow. If I commit something to myself, I do my best, although I fall short. That doesn't put me in a position of negative thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and results based upon this belief system that I am enough. As long as I keep my word, I do my best and grow. So at the end of a commitment, if I don't get the result that I desired, I look within. What did I do really good? Where could I have grown? And from there, every simple moment, every simple action in my day, if I could have done something better, I still realize what I did good, although I create a strategy to do that thing better the next time. That's what makes me enough. And again, this is just one example. You need to go create your answer for yourself And it might be an answer that comes immediately. It might take a day to think about. Really create that strategy of how you're going to overcome that and what you desire. And the last step is win, the W of grow. How are you going to win? What are the action steps? What needs to happen for you to actually make this a reality? For me, with this question of what makes me enough, at the end of every single day, I ask myself, what did I do good and what did I do bad? This isn't to make me feel really happy and joyful and free, or on the flip side, to make me feel shame and guilt and frustration for myself. It's a very neutral feeling of what did I do good and what could I have done better? And by doing so, I'm getting better every single day. Now, how I do that, I have that part of my personal development routine on a daily basis. With that, it's oftentimes me and my wife are talking about that. If I realize I could have done something better, I'm having those conversations. If I did something good, I'm having those conversations. That way I'm building a community around myself with my wife, the most important person in this world to me. And someday I'm looking forward to doing that with my kids. I build myself around a community of my enoughness. And in turn, I've built myself to feel enough every single day. That doesn't mean that every day is sunshines and rainbows and unicorns. It just simply ensures that every day ends in a good day. With that in mind, to summarize again, we all have belief systems. We are meaning-making machines as human beings. Any situation that you experience, you will attach a meaning to. Because whether it's a situation like another or not, you're going to have a belief around it. Creating your thoughts, creating your emotions, creating your behaviors, creating your results. It's to the point that 2 people, 4 people, 10 people, 20 people plus could experience the exact same thing, yet every single person is going to have a different meaning attached to that experience. And that's okay. That's what makes you, you. That's what makes every individual themselves. With that, throughout life, you've built these core beliefs. And we're capable of questioning the surface level experiences and beliefs. But today, it's all about looking deep. What are your core beliefs that you don't think to question? Go question those, because that's the deep work that's really going to help. It's the low-hanging fruit to help you make transformation quickly, allowing you to experience the results that you truly desire, ultimately allowing you to become the person you're destined to be. With that in mind, thank you so much for listening to the Journey to Authenticity podcast today. If you liked what I had to say, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. This helps to ensure that, one, I get the highest quality guests to help you come transform your life and bring interesting content, but it also helps me to understand what I'm doing good, where I can do better, again, like we talked about, so that I can serve you on a higher level. With that in mind, have a good rest of your day, everybody.